Hello leaders and future leaders, this is retired Sergeant First Class Beitz. In this video, we will discuss active duty Army pay for 2025, which includes a 4.5% pay increase from 2024. I will explain how military pay is structured and what you can expect to earn each month. We will focus exclusively on the ranks of Private E1 through Specialist E4. Soldiers above the rank of Specialist will know how to calculate their earnings. Understanding Army pay. In the regular Army, soldiers are paid according to their rank and time in service. The more time in service you have, the more you get paid. The higher your rank, the more you get paid. You will receive your base pay on the 1st and on the 15th of every month. If either date falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, you will be paid on the first business day before the weekend or holiday. For example, if the 1st falls on a Sunday, you will be paid on the preceding Friday. New Year's Day, January 1st, 2025 falls on a Wednesday. As a result, you will receive your pay on Tuesday, the day before, since that is the first business day prior to the holiday. If you have any questions or need clarification, please leave a comment. In addition to your monthly base pay, you will also receive a basic allowance for subsistence, more commonly known as BAS. BAS is meant to offset the cost of food for service members. The monthly BAS rate for enlisted soldiers is $460.25. Service member pay for Private E1 through Specialist E4. The following charts show the monthly base pay for service members in 2025, reflecting a 4.5% military pay raise. These calculations are estimates. Base pay and basic allowance for subsistence. Private E1 without dependents with less than 4 months time in service. Base pay $1,948.93. BAS $460.25. Private E1 without dependents with more than 4 months time in service. Base pay $2,107.97. BAS $460.25. Time in service after 4 months doesn't affect E1 pay. So regardless of whether you have 4 months or a year of time in service, E1 base pay remains unchanged. Private Second Class E2 without dependents. Base pay $2,362.85. BAS $460.25. Time in service doesn't affect pay for PV2s. Private First Class E3 without dependents with less than 2 years time in service. Base pay $2,484.49. BAS $460.25. Private First Class E3 without dependents with 2 years time in service. $2,640.61. BAS $460.25. Private First Class E3 without dependents with 3 years time in service. Base pay $2,800.81. BAS $460.25. Specialist E4 without dependents with less than 2 years time in service. Base pay $2,752.22. BAS $460.25. Specialist E4 without dependents with more than 2 years time in service. Base pay $2,892.98. BAS $460.25. Specialist E4 without dependents with more than 3 years time in service. Base pay $3,049.73. BAS $460.25. Specialist E4 without dependents with more than 4 years time in service. Base pay $3,204.28. BAS $460.25. If you are married and or have children, you will receive a basic allowance for housing or BAH in addition to your base pay and BAS. The amount of BAH you will receive depends on your zip code, pay grade, and whether you have dependents. Here is a guide explaining how to calculate your BAH. The first thing we're going to do is Google BAH calculator. We want to click on this first link, Defense Travel Management Office. From here, we want to go down to the BAH calculator hyperlink and click it. This is the BAH calculator. Enter your zip code, year, and pay grade. We will go with zip code 94016. Keep the year at 2024 since 2025 isn't available yet, and then we're going to change the pay grade to E4. Then hit submit. As shown, in E4 with dependents, monthly BAH for zip code 94016 is $4,236. It's as simple as that. To determine your exact monthly payment, add your BAH amount to your base pay and BAS. Here is an example. Let's say you are an E4 with 4 years time in service, have dependents, and are stationed at Fort Shafter Army Base in Hawaii. First, find the zip code for Fort Shafter, which is 96858. Next, input that zip code into the BAH calculator. Select the appropriate year and pay grade. As shown, the basic allowance for housing for an E4 at Fort Shafter is $3,009. Additionally, base pay for an E4 with 4 years time in service is $3,204.28, and the basic allowance for subsistence is $460.25. You will simply add your BAH, base pay, and BAS together. So your BAH was $3,009, your base pay was $3,204.28, and your BAS is $460.25. Your monthly pay amounts to $6,673.53. This total will be divided into 2 payments. So if you divide the $6,673.53 by 2, you get $3,336.76. This is the amount you will receive on the 1st and the 15th of each month. You can expect 2 guaranteed pay raises each year. The first is a cost of living increase, which helps soldiers keep up with inflation. The second is a time and service pay raise, which is given on your enlistment anniversary date each year. Additionally, there is a proposal within the Service Member Quality of Life Improvement and National Defense Authorization Act. The House Armed Services Committee has expressed concerns about the adequacy of pay for junior enlisted personnel and recommended pay raises for pay grades E1 through E4. They have suggested a 15% increase for soldiers in the E1 to E4 pay grades and a 7% increase for E5s. The House of Representatives has already approved this act, but it still requires Senate and presidential approval. This would be the largest pay raise in American military history. Quick recap. Starting January 1st, 2025, all service members will receive a 4.5% pay increase with the potential for an additional 15% increase for the ranks of E4 and below. Active duty soldiers are paid on the 1st and the 15th of each month. If either of these dates falls on a weekend or holiday, payday will be moved to the first business day prior. We reviewed base pay and basic allowance for subsistence for the ranks of E1 through E4 and outlined the method for calculating basic allowance for housing. To learn more about the various types of compensation, check out my military pay video, which is tagged in this video and linked below. If you have any questions regarding pay, feel free to ask. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any future content. This is Sergeant First Class Beitz. I'm out.